Hi there, Dave here with the fifth of 5 videos about our Flight Log 1 project. And so in this version, we're going to finally implement the right output. All the heavy lifting was done earlier. The heavy lifting was really adding to the totals and getting the input from the user and making sure that was valid and all that kind of stuff. The hard stuff. The easy stuff is just displaying the output the way the user wanted it. We designed it well, and so it should be pretty easy to do. Well, display output, it's got an integer for the grand total. That's going to be this guy here. So that's my grand total count, and that's going to eventually wind up being the average. I need a grand total of all the distance too. So I need those two. And then I need access to the states because I'm going to print the states. And then I go ahead and print the title and the heading just like I've done before. And now I go ahead and set my index, and this is the value I'm going to be using to go through the arrays. I'm going to go through the arrays in kind of an old-fashioned, in a much more direct way. It's a little bit more work, but maybe it's a little bit easier to see. So instead of the for structure that we saw earlier, we're going to use a while. And so it's saying while this situation is true, we're going to do everything between the while and, well, everything down to the display. So we're going to continue to do this as long as index, which is currently 0, is less than the number of elements that are in total count, which is 5. So it's going to do this iteration the first time, and then look down at the bottom, no matter whether we're going to do something with this iteration or not. I always add index. I always add 1 to index. What I just tried to say there was what I'm going to be doing inside of this while loop, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see whether the value of the total count array member index, so it's going to be 0 first, then it's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? Because we have 5 entries in the array, and therefore we have 0 through 4. And so for each one of those, it's going to see whether the total count is greater than 0. In other words, should I print this line or not? So if I got something there, because that means that I had some flights, if I had some activity, then I go ahead and calculate the average. Then I go ahead and display the valid site subindex, right? Plus the total count subindex, plus the average that I just calculated using the total distance subindex divided by the total count subindex. And then I go ahead and add to my grand total count and my grand total distance, and I keep doing that over and over, right? So if this situation is true or not, notice that I'm adding 1 to index. I always have to, otherwise I'll be in an infinite loop if you don't update index each time. So when I'm all done with that stuff, I'm going to do the next thing that's lined up right underneath the while, which is display the total. And then I display GT count, the total count. Then I display the total distance divided by the total count, which is the total average. So it's all very straightforward. We print the heading, we do something over and over, and then we do something at the end. The way we write code. We do something at the beginning, we do something over and over in the middle, we do something at the end. So we print at the end here the total line. Over and over we go through these different sites looking for ones that have a count greater than 0. And that's the first iteration of our Flight Log app. Take care.